Good evening, everyone. Welcome into your Trillion Trust Auckland Cup special preview. Yes, the box seat brought to you in association with Woodland Stud. It must be a big show because the big fish, best analyst in the business, has joined us once again. Evening to you. Compliments of the season. Looking forward to getting into this preview.
Yeah, good evening, boys. Michael, happy birthday to you, mate. And yeah, Auckland Cup tomorrow. Really looking forward to it, boys. 3,200 metres. X factor of Turn It Up, taking on a proven two-miler. And the only two-miler in the race, Gregory, and Dream About Me, and she's in sensational form. 60 minutes will enlighten you with a few winners next.
Yeah, looking forward to getting into that. Yeah, happy birthday, mate. Congratulations on the gallop. Abraham's winning today too.
Taken a while.
That was a pretty cool birthday present.
It was.
And now we've got our own presents to open tomorrow at Alexandra Park.
Yeah, it's funny. Hi, everybody. Hope you had a good day. I had a great day and really appreciate Terry Ray getting me my first galloping win in my colours because I was starting to think they were jinxed. But it's a funny thing, Auckland Cup, isn't it? Because it is our second biggest harness race. But there's so much build-up to the New Zealand Cup, and the discrepancy in the stake is too big for my liking. But it sort of sneaks up on you. I mean, Boxing Day happens at Ellerslie, and there's so much racing wherever you are around the country. I'm sure there's been racing near you. And then it sort of gets here on a Monday afternoon. I think it's the right date, but it's really hard to get momentum for. So, look, we're going to try and provide some momentum in the next 55 odd minutes, including, I love stats, fellas, and there's a stat about the two-horse race in the Auckland Cup, because that's what the bookies are calling it tomorrow night, which is a stat I've never come across in my near 30 years in harness racing. So see if you can think what that would be between now and when we start talking about the race.
Be worth sticking around to find out that alone. So we've got 3 Group 1s to have a look at, along with a couple of $100,000 sales final as well. We've got a high of 24, some isolated shares that can stay away from Alexandra Park. Be really good. Trillion Trust Auckland Cup goes at 808. It's for $250,000. The Alabar Sire Stakes is minus the blue colours. No All-Stars, and they've dominated that race over the last 5 or 6 years. $150,000 in that. The Sims Pacific Metals National Trot has a dominant favourite in Mark Cooler and Craig Thompson. $40,000 terminating pick 6.
Michael Dorr, well done to you, my man.
He's come to the party.
He has. Actually, the last couple of weeks, we've had a couple of terminators and they've been well and truly got into by the viewers. So I think tomorrow's one, there's one leg there, Greg. I reckon we can take on a favourite. So, mate,
Here's a question for you. Should all pick sixes be terminators? Now that we don't get the big pools we used to get, should they all be terminators?
Well, I don't think they'll be able to go 40 grand, but I wouldn't mind seeing, if you're going to run a Thursday night, we're going 25 anyway, Michael, so why not make it a 20
that
terminator?
That came with you to the other night, we did it together. I didn't play the pick 6. Had it been 25 terminating,
you might have
had to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So look, it's worth thinking about because pick 6 is almost dying. I can't remember the last time we had a jackpot past 150k.
We'll put it this way, if a pick 6 is
time
struck by 10 people, it pays $2,500. If you've got 10% of it, you're getting $250.
Yeah.
Mate, it's just not worth it. So make it terminate, we'll get involved.
All right, we can talk about that another time because 1890 was the first running of the Trillion Trust Auckland Cup. Just getting news through from my director there. Do I remember that one? No, not quite. But Commodore won it.
By Commodore on the
there
grass.
You go. You didn't think I'd pull that out. On
Commodore,
the grass.
On the grass.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the market for the edition that we have of 2018. We reckon it might be the last Group 1 in the world, Michael. We should go with that anyway.
Well, look, anybody watching this show isn't going to be able to prove it's not.
No.
So we'll just keep saying that, and if you can prove it, well, you can email us before tonight. This market's remarkable because not only has it hardly moved at all, but I had an elongated conversation with Mark Purdon trying to glean what he thought was going to happen in this race. And he said, I can't split the pair of them. Now, Turn It Up is going down to 2.1 and Dream About Me is going up to $3. We're all going to pick the same horse. I'm pretty sure pick the 6. But at some stage, the horse who ran 3rd in the New Zealand Cup and got Tiger Tarred over the last lap and only just lost it is going to be in front. You could sort of make a case in your mind that it should be each of 2 at 2.5 rather than Craig 2.1 versus $3, even though my top pick is going to be Turn It Up, and I'm sure yours is too.
Is it the hyperbole? Is it, for want of a Michael Guerinism, is that why he's come up favourite, or do you genuinely believe he's a better winning chance?
No, I don't. I've gone through this race probably in the last 72 hours, and I can make a case for both of them winning, especially the way that Dream About Me's come through the Queen of Hearts. I think she's rolling perfectly into the 2 miles. It's the proven horse versus the unproven horse, and this is the real Dream About Me when she's at the top of her game. You go back 2 years ago, she won 3 in a row, and if she does the Auckland Cup, it'll be deja vu. This was a good win here, Greg. She didn't beat the male horses. She only beat the female ones, but she did it nicely. And she's a mare that, when she's in the zone, she holds her form. And through Cup Week, she got beaten by a couple of very handy ones that are not here. She deserves to be equal favourite with Turn 'Em Up. Shouldn't be the $3 versus the $2.10. I'd have them equal at around about $2.50.
Is it one of those races, Michael, where you play both of them?
You could. You're not getting much profit percentage. You're making 25% on your money, which sounds all right. If you back both of them and one of the two wins, which I think one of the two will. The question for me will come in the race. I think Dream About Me will probably lead. The question would come if Turn It Up comes around and looks for the lead, what would be likely to happen? Now, I put that to Mark Purden. He said, with either horse, the only other horse I would think the drivers, because he doesn't give Tim Williams instructions. He said the only other horse I think we would hand up to is the other one. So it's a case where there's a really strong possibility here, because I don't see any attackers in this race at all.
No.
I think there's a really strong possibility the favourites will lead in trail. So most people watching this aren't going to care about 25% of value on their money, but you could make a pretty strong case for that. Here's the Franklin Cup, which was the male-ish lead up, for want of a better word. Here he is, Turn It Up. Very professional, great from a standing start. Fellas, it's impossible to fault anything he does, including this.
Roars away. First look at Alexandra Park. Lovely equine athlete indeed. And he's home.
So he wears a pole when he goes left-handed. He doesn't wear one right-handed, and Mark said he's better right-handed. That's quite scary, because not often do you come to the park like he did there and win as comfortably as he did.
Well, I think whoever posies in front of the other one when they settle down will more than likely lead the race. I know what Michael's saying. Would they hand? Well, they probably would. But if Dream About Me found the front early on, I'd love to take the $3 because she's such a great star. And Turn Up will have to work into the race. You remember he's only had 4 standing starts, boys, and she's had 19. She's been a proven horse over the last 3 years in Group 1 company. Now, he's got the X factor, like we said at the top of the show, but he's not a Group 1 winner yet. It may happen tomorrow night.
One of them is going to lose their unbeaten run at Alexandra Park. Of course, she's 8 from 8, Michael.
Well, you raise that stat, I could even trump you on that stat. There's Jim Gibbs, of course, who's trained so many great gallopers with Anne, and there's John Street, who won an Auckland Cup with Sir Lincoln. But how's this for a stat? Dream About Me has had more starts this season than Turn It Up's had in its life. Turn It Up's had 8 starts in its career. Dream About Me's had 9 starts this season. So you're talking about one who, if it was NRL, has played 200 games of first grade and has all the scars to prove it, and is going to go out there on what's a sort of a grand final and rough and tumble it. And one who might be the brilliant young, standoff who can do freakish things, but you don't know about the grand final. And that's what it feels like. I think Turn It Up can win, but I think it's got 2 strings to its bow. I'm not sure Dream About Me can sit on Turn It Up backs and beat it, because I think she might have lost an inch of her change-up speed, not a rolling speed. She's only paced one sub-55 second last 800 this whole season. That was 54.2 at Ashburton, and even then she got beaten by a horse for sheer speed, Naaman Maguire. So I'm not sure she'll sit in the trail and run past him. Whereas I think he could probably do that to her. So he might have more ways to win it, but you're saying to yourself, if this is a 4-minute or a 4.2, 3,200 metres, that's got to play into his hands.
Yeah.
If it's a
They'll
355,
go quicker than that.
Exactly. But if it's a 355.5, and these 2 horses have the very good chance to manipulate that speed. 355.5 is what she paced 2 years ago, then that probably aids her, because we haven't seen him do that yet. I'm tipping him on top, but I agree that the discrepancy is too big, and for that reason, the value punt for me goes, well, maybe you should be back in the other one.
They've actually taken the blinds off her for tomorrow. They've had them on for the Queen of Hearts and in the Breeders' Stakes. That's because they wanted to sharp her up from the mobile. When she goes back to a standing start, take the blinds off, gets away relatively quickly. I can see her posing up in front of Turn It Up here. A week ago, after I saw the Franklin Cup, I was Turn It Up. I'm not convinced going in tomorrow. I think the mare can win this tomorrow, boys, and go back to
So
back.
what's the deciding vote? Because I'm going Turn It Up on
I'm
top.
going to Turn It Up.
Yeah, I'll go the mare tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'd be quite happy
You've
to take
always
the $3.
been a ladies' man, though.
Well, I have in my old days. Not so much now when I'm married.
What about the rest of it? What about
Yeah, come on, we need to talk about some of these other runners.
Star Galleria is improving, and I'm not sure he can get a place off the markers, but on the marker pegs, Tony Hurley's won 8 Auckland Cups. It can sit there and get dragged into a second or third. I think Jack's Legend is a horse who, if he was close enough, is a proven Group 1 horse, placed in 2 New Zealand free-for-alls and second in a New Zealand Cup. I find it really hard to make a case that most of the rest of these, all things being equal, are going to run into third or fourth. And to be honest, I'm actually struggling to believe All You Need Is Faith is actually the third favourite.
Yeah, maybe Utmost Delight for me, if she was in the right spot. Ricky May's record over 2 miles, as we know.
Yeah, too early for her. I'd say probably the best place chance in the race would be Star Galleria, followed by Ashley Lopez, because he's such a professional racehorse. Blair Orange picks up the drive. Great in the Franklin Cup, running down, turn it up at the line, hitting the line well. Hasn't got a bad race up this way right-handed. He's probably the forgotten horse. He hasn't got a bad race through the Cup Carnival. And hey, $15 is too short. You'll get better on the day because the other two are so dominant.
Important note there too, there's 8 across the front.
Yes.
So if you're used to Addington, you're used to the bigger front line, there's only 8 across the front. Jack's Legion's the outside of the front.
Now, what we've done for each race, for the train spotters at home, we don't spend $100 per race, but we want to give you an example. If we were spending $100 per race, this is how we'd go about it.
I spend more than $100 per race.
Yeah,
what are you talking
but
about?
for the nature of the show, someone will be
cool.
sitting at home going, "Oh, he spent $100 on that." No,
Yes.
we're spending $100 a race to give you an example of
So
how
what
we
are you
would
doing
play
with
it.
$100?
Well, with my $100 for this, we're going to baseline those for you now. For me,
Is that what's called a baseline?
that's it.
$100
You
to
learn
on
something
Turn It
every
Up.
time. That'll do me. $100 on
I
Turn
think
It
they
Up.
should be bigger.
Bang.
I reckon there's heaps of old people watching this show can't read that. I'm not even sure what mine was.
I went
know
to
this
Quinella,
afternoon.
so there you go.
You went to Quinella?
Well, I did. I think it's a race in 2, so I'm going Dream About Me, but if I was a safety better, the Quinella, what would it pay, 240, 250?
I'm actually embarrassed. I think I've gone the Quinella too.
Oh, no.
Have you?
Get me
Yeah,
I
off.
think
follow
I
each
have.
other
It's
in.
about to come up. I did it this afternoon, which feels like 2 days ago.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I have
Oh,
to.
mate.
Up your pop.
There you go.
Happy birthday.
And there goes the 2.4.
Yeah, a couple of dollars now. You wouldn't have expected that.
Tell me, with the Auckland Cup, does it need to go to 500,000? And if it was 500,000,
They'd
which
get the
is
same field, mate.
would they get many better?
No, there's nothing
Is there
out
anyone
there.
missing?
Tiger Tara might have turned up for 500k.
AG's
He's had a
White
pretty
Sox.
tough run through the Interdoms. Would he come back? No.
He's gone to Perth. So look, you've got to wonder, because is it worth going to 500, or does it fall at a time of the year where that's about what it's going to be?
Well, next year's going to be interesting, of course, with the Interdom around it as well.
Well, it's the Dominion final's 2 weeks beforehand next year, so there's going to be more horses. sort of
Is
hanging-
there incentive, though, to
hanging
stay
around.
for 250 or nip back to wherever?
I agree
WA,
with Michael.
Undercut?
I think the club needs to highlight the race higher, and stake money is the one way of doing that.
Particularly with the Miracle Mile going to $1 million.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, moving off the Trillion Trust Auckland Cup, 8:08 will be the start time for that. What about the National Trot? It's also at Group 1 level, and this with Sims Pacific Metals. Here's the market for it, $1.25 into $1.20 for Markula. Go back a month, 6 weeks before the Dominion, he was $26. Those days are well and truly gone, aren't they?
And we'll show you why. Because, Gregory, we have a couple of videos of Markula where he just turns up against some of the best trotters in the country, in fact, stronger fields than this, and just smashes them. Here's the latest of those, the Lyle Creek. Now, what you don't see here is he balanced up early, and I think the same thing will happen from the barrier draw tomorrow night, but these are more or less the same horses he's racing tomorrow night, and this is what he did to them.
Markula, the brilliant winner of the Dominion, comes to Alexandra Park, takes the Group 2 Proto Boost Lyle Creek in great fashion. Second over Le Mans.
Yeah, he drew barrier 1 on that occasion, got cross, made his way to the front. I think Michael's right, Craig. He'll just basically do that again. In fact, I think he's in that type of form that he could sit park and win anyway.
Well, I think what the bookmakers have done, I'd suggest is massive multis. Well, I know there's multis, big ones finishing on Markula, so they're not going to drift them. They were always going to open them short, $1.25. That's unbackable, but people will run him through what is going to be a very hot day with $1.30 short favourites. So will he work to the front? Absolutely. How long will it take? I'd say probably could take 400 to 800
Craig,
metres.
who will he take the lead off?
Well, I think the Almighty Johnson's the quickest off the gate, but he'll be handing probably to its stablemate Temporale, and then I see the favourite come in. I can't see Tony not wanting to hand. So for me, I think Temporale's in the right spot to run the Quinella.
Do you think, Michael, that Craig's right, will get across at the start, the Almighty Johnson, and get across a horse like Massive Metro?
Or everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
I'm not sure. I know exactly what Craig's saying, and it's very possible. I do think at some stage Temporale is going to be in front, and I wouldn't be surprised if Clint waited, as we see him there with
half
the
mile?
kids. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if he waited for
To the mile.
1,400 metres.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no hurry. The last couple of races, the Dominion and the Lyell Creek, he's launched at the 1,200 to the 1,000 metre mark.
Yes.
So there's no hurry. And the question will come, will Temporale hand? I would suggest he probably would. Here he is getting back to something like his best in a strange old race at Cambridge. He's
This is a
outside the
weird
leader.
old race, wasn't it?
The horse in the passing lane gallops, the horse wider, Le Monde gallops, and Massive Metro didn't even score up. We'll talk more about that because I've got lots of info about those sort of things after we see Temporale, the defending champion, win at Cambridge.
Le Monde galloped, Emerito's Sun galloped, Hey Yo's finishing it off strongly, but Temporale back in winning form over stablemate, the almighty...
I don't think that surprises anybody, fellas. We know how good he is. I mean, he just had that form slump. We get a virus over the spring. Emerito's Sun, I think he wanted to go too quick into that passing lane, according to Ken Ford when I spoke to him today. Le Monde was wide and he's not as good left-handed. And Massive Metro didn't score up. I put it to Michelle Wallace, his trainer. What's that all about? She said, he used to be really good left-handed, but we spent so much time working on him right-handed, he now doesn't like left-handed. So she is adamant he'll score up, and I think he's the horse who could be 3 or 4 markers, Craig, and that gives them a place chance on what we saw on the Lyell Creek.
I think that race at Cambridge is a very good gate speed race to work out how that race is going to run. Just quickly on Le Monde, he stood on a bell boot at the 150 metre mark. That's why he tripped and galloped. He wouldn't have won the race anyway, but he certainly would have finished a lot closer. Agree with Massive Metro, left-handed, certainly not his go. Back right-handed, a key. You saw in that video at the start, or prior to the video, the start of that race, you saw the almighty Johnson cross, everybody knows. They're very close together again. I suggest that will unfold.
It was over a mile though, a little bit different over the 27, burning them up like that. You still think that'll happen?
Oh, I do, because I think there's no point going back with the almighty Johnson. You lose your tactical advantage of drawing 4 or 5, and you've got the speed to go forward. If you go back, you can't come from back in the field and win that race. So I think they'll roll the dice. If they get across, they can hand possibly through the fence. That gets them some money, like they did at Cambridge.
I think behind Marcoola, there's 4 or 5 horses you can make a case for running second or third. Temporale's obvious, Le Mond's obvious, he loves Alexandra Park. We've seen Emerito's Sun, third in the Lyell Creek, and of course he's won a major Group 1 staying race in Dominion. Massive Metro, yes, was good enough, went 5th last time out, and the almighty Johnson's going to be on the pegs. So all of a sudden, there's a lot of horses who could run second or third, but I don't know anybody who's going to want to back anything but Marcoola. Now, he has let people down before, Marcoola, including in this race 2 years ago, Greg, but he looks a different horse. I spoke to Ken Ford today, who... If you want to get a hold of Ken Ford, don't ring the number in the racing directory, because that's not his number. It's Amanda's number. But he said the horse at the moment looks like a bodybuilder. He said he's muscly, he's glistening because it's summer, he's a stallion, the horse is feeling really well. His exact words were, I've never been this confident going into a big race.
Right, therefore, how do you play it? How's your 100 go?
Well, I can't believe I'm doing this because I never take Quinellas, and I've taken 2 here in a row because I do think that Temporale will lead at some stage. I think Marcoola will get the lead off him, and I think they'll run first and second. So while I actually won't be doing that because to be honest, I'll be betting in the race. That's what I would do if I had $100 I had to have a bet.
Well, I run trifectas because you can't back Marcoola at $1.25. So I put him on top. I put Massive Metro because I think he's a possible trailer through the fence early on in the mix, along with Le Monde and Temporale. Run a string for third. It comes back about $5 worth of that trifecta. And if you've got Massive Metro running second here, and with the right run, I thought he could definitely run second. Would make a handy trifecta. He's the best value in the race. I like him a lot better right-handed than left.
Oh, that gives me a little bit of confidence. Well, therefore, I put 100 a place on him. I think he's about $3.70.
Really good place bet, yeah.
That'd do me. Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
One thing about Alexandra Park major staying races. The marker pegs.
You say it every single
time. You go to
time.
have a bet, just if it's not going to be on the marker pegs, have a really big think about it. Unless it's a handicap trot, which is slightly different because I've got to go
Or it's
wide.
links better than them.
Yeah, because it just over 2.5 decades of watching this sort of stuff, marker pegs in the major staying races totally dominate.
Short break for us coming up here on your box seat special. Yes, it's Trillion Trust Auckland Cup night, evening it will be tomorrow. Looking forward to it. When we come back, we'll have a look at the 2-year-old feature.
Trillion Trust Auckland Cup. Vincent from Heaven Rocks. Titan Banner, HR Fiskin passing lane and Star Galleria further back. Jack's Legend running on. It's Vincent. Titan Banner, Heaven Rocks on the outside. Vincent 75 to go. Heaven Rocks, Titan Banner. It's an all-stars show in the Auckland Cup, and Vincent too good. 27 the last quarter, so a 54-3 last.
Yeah, the brilliant Vincent winning the Auckland Cup, one of those 4-year-olds I was talking about, and it's a shame we didn't get to see more of him, Michael, but he just showed us in that race how good he can be, and now we'll get to see his progeny as well.
And he's been really well supported at stud, so well done to Alabar, because domestic stallions can be really tricky. I mean, obviously Christian Cullen and Courage Under Fire got plenty of support, as did Al Sue in the early years of his career. So, look, I think he'll do a job, fellas, because the beauty is he's by out major, so he can cross a lot of Betters Delight mares, and we have literally farm loads of Betters Delight mares.
And he always looked like
breeding
a thoroughbred, didn't he?
He was one of the best looking horses I've seen.
Which means they'll sell well,
Yeah.
because people love buying those nice big round horses at the sales. So, gee, it seems a long time ago. So much has happened in harness racing since last year's Cup. When you consider this time last year, he was favourite for races like the Bendigo Cup over Heaven Rocks, and Lazarus was favourite for the Miracle Mile. It's like we've taken the entire open class crop and just changed it out and dropped a whole new team into their place.
I'll tell you what it does reflect, though, what you've been banging on about for the last 6-8 weeks, that the 4-year-olds is where it's at now.
I think they're the best version of horses we have now, because as they get older, you start to lose some to retirement and other things. And also horses get niggles, they get sore, or they have a bleed, whereas the 4-year-olds tend to be up and at 'em and confident. And you look at the 4-year-olds we've got at the moment, like
Staggering.
Spanker and Pat's Delight, and it just goes on.
It used to be the old scenario of age group racing stepping into 4-year-old, into the older crop was very hard to do now. But our age group racing at 3, the good ones, they're open class horses by the time they hit 4.
When Christian Cullen won the New Zealand Cup, Auckland Cup, Miracle Mile as a 4-year-old, it was a bit of an anomaly sort of thing.
Well, the greatest crop was 1991, long time ago. Mark Hanover beat Christopher Vance in the Inter-Dominion final, and the Bruiser, Franco Ice, was also part of that crop. You know, incredible horses of the same age. And then we didn't have another one for about a decade, another super crop of those 4-year-olds. But look, it's great that we have a lot of 4-year-old racing now for them, the Jewels and the Taylor Mile and the Chariots of Fire and stuff. Chase Auckland, by the way, arrives in Auckland this week, so he's going to add and embellish that crop. What is bizarre, though, fellas, is you talk about 3-year-old pacing for the race this week, 150 grand. I had a good talk to Richard Aubrey last night, who I've never spoke to in my life. It's staggering to think there's no All-Stars horse in there.
Not one.
It's...
When you go through the record of the race,
you could have got 500 to 1, there would be no All-Stars horse in that race if you'd bet 2 months ago.
There's another Purdon with a good chance, and we'll get to that very shortly. We need to have a look, and it's not going to be an error-free show, because I said 2-year-olds who went to the break. It's the 3-year-olds, of course, for $200,000, the PGG Rights and Sales Series final.
Well, this shouldn't take long.
No, Ultimate Snipers into $1.18, boys.
And deservedly so. Barrier 1, probably the only concern, but like Michael says, they go hard on that first bend. I think he may even hold up from the inside here. Jesse Duke's quick out. Heisenberg, who you would think would get across, is drawn immediately outside him. So that makes it harder for him to get across. He's the best 3-year-old out there, and he dominated from in the trail last week, boys. Tony Hurley dashing up on the inside here of Jesse Duke. On the outside, another masterpiece, who will probably be the main danger again. A couple of nice runs in behind here, but Michael, what do you make of the draw here? What is your initial thoughts on A, can he hold up from the inside? And if he doesn't, will he get off immediately?
I think at 30 or 40 grand, Heisenberg, they roll the dice, and if they get in front of him, they stay there. For 200, they don't. I think even if Heisenberg crosses him, I think they'll have to go so fast to do so, he'll get straight round him to get the front back off him. For 200,000, that's 35, 40,000 per
But you always tell me they've got to be 2 lengths faster when they draw alongside them.
Either way, I think heading to the mile, he's in front. And either way, I think he'll win. Heisenberg, yes, is the key to the race. There must be a temptation there to burn quickly for 200, then duck into his back even. I just think he'll win. I think Jesse Duke's improved with consistent racing because he's such a rugged-looking little horse, and another masterpiece is obviously going very strongly. It's impossible to make a case for anything not in those colours in this race, which I know gets a bit repetitive for some people, but this, Greg, is simply one hell of a horse.
Yeah, he's exceptional, isn't he?
Well, he is, because he's come through the Sire Stakes, he's come up to Alexandra Park, he's had a break between the two, and first time right-handed, no problem at all, very professional. Probably a bit of a replica to turn it up, but from barrier one, he holds the key to the race. Probably for me, I like another masterpiece over Jessie Duke to run the Quinella. I think the $1.70 is great place money. I run a trifecta around, obviously the favourite winning.
And you put Make Way in there.
I put Make Way in. If he poses up in the trail, he'll make your trifecta, and he's a good chance of doing that. He wasn't bad in that video we just showed behind Ultimate Sniper. So for me, favourite will be winning. It's how you play around him. Another masterpiece, clearly the one
You
for me.
also
to run
chucked in
Quinella.
Supreme Dominator to run third. He's been really good, but
And
he's just in a great
He
crop.
might try and duck 3 markers, which would be the place to go, because this is such big money. These horses can just look to run seconds or thirds if Ultimate Sniper leads, and that's as good as winning a Premier race, and then you stay in the same grade. So it's impossible to make a case against him. Really hard to find a way to bet into this race.
Yeah.
I actually came up with, of all things, another masterpiece of place.
Yeah.
I almost don't see him missing
That's
a
my
place.
trifecta on the screen, by the way.
Wait, so the 1, 4 and 8, okay, makes sense. I think the 8 might come sit parked and run third or something like that. About
He is the reigning
$1.70.
2-year-old of the year, of course, and he's going good, but he's going to have to
Well,
go.
I think he's been the slow mover this time up.
Missing the size.
Missing the
and
Sire Stakes. He's taken a little
going
bit
through
longer
the Breeders'
coming through.
Crown.
Where the other ones have come through Cup Week at Addington. He's missed that, and he's taken a little bit longer to get there. But I like him last week. I really thought he was brave. And for me, the 2200 suits him well this
Here's
week.
a question for you. If you owned Mr. Yips or one of the other horses in this race like Acelere, would you rather go to a $20,000 support race you thought you'd win, or roll the dice at 200k to know where you stand?
What are you running? What do you get for starting?
I think about
5?
3 or 4, 5.
Yeah, I'd go the 20,000. I tell you why, because I credit them with lining up in this race because we need the numbers in there. But it does look like the 3 best 3-year-olds will stand up here. Gives you a shot to run 4th or 5th. And what do you get to run 4th or 5th? Probably 10 grand.
I think it gives you an idea where you stand, because after this, if look, Mr. Yips is owned by some mates of mine, and they'll after the race go, okay, yes, Derby is on the radar for us, or no Derby, and you probably don't know that till you have a crack. Once in a while, you see a horse surprise you in these races, but it is an interesting one, isn't it? Because that first race tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, 3:15, is quite weak, and you chuck a horse like him into that race, and he goes around $1.40 and wins probably easily.
Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity for the owners to go around for 200.
Well, I give you an example. Make Way wouldn't be in the top 7 in this race, but they rolled the dice, they lined him up and said, hey, listen, we'll put him in the field. Well, he's drawn 1 the second row behind the $1.35 favourite.
Yeah.
Now, if he trailed the whole way and ran 3rd, certainly better than winning a $20,000 race on
a couple of weeks ago, we could have had the same conversation about the 3-year-old Sire Stakes Fillies
Tiger
Championship.
Swift.
With Princess Tiffany.
And Princess Tiffany, and you could have said to Richard Aubrey,
Wasting your time coming north.
Wasting your time
Yeah.
coming north of Wainui Creek, which I thought he probably was. He's rocked up here, and I reckon he'll start favourite.
Well, probably the Queen of Hearts is another one because Tiger Swift's got a Group 1 placing, running 3rd in a $100,000 Group 1 race. Gives her, obviously, Group 1 placing on the pedigree now. They've rolled the dice, put her in there, and she got the money.
29th running. I just want to move on to the Sire Stakes, mate. Otherwise, we're going to run out of time.
you can
I know
do
it's your birthday, but what else you got?
I was going to say, the one other thing about tomorrow's race is that it is a buyer's supermarket. So there's going to be people watching those races from Perth, and they're going to pay a lot more attention.
A buyer's
Buyers supermarket.
Yeah, the buyers who buy horses from
buyers.
Perth and
It's a
Melbourne,
supermarket.
they just go, this is a supermarket. These good 3-year-olds, we love these races,
It's
and
pack and say.
they tend to buy out of these races. So it's a nice advertising place
down.
for you.
Nice.
There you
Right,
go.
here's the market for the Fillies Group 1 feature, and we have a pretty interesting go here on Wainui Creek. Now, while she didn't win first up at the park, you couldn't have gone much better, I thought.
I'll let Craig explain this. Big fish, I'll put this colloquially. You think the bookies stuffed this up?
I'm glad you put words in my mouth. I think they got it completely wrong for a couple of scenarios. Chevron Supreme should never have been 220. If they were thinking she was going to lead, Bella Montana was always going to be her back, and she's a better proven performer. So she was always a chance of running her down, so she should have been favourite. She's also a chance of not scoring up. We've seen her in the past be a bit of a rogue at the start. She's not proven at Group 1 company, and there are here horses in this race that have raced in far better fields. So you can see why she's been the big drifter. 220 was too short. She's now out to 320. I don't believe she'll start favourite.
Were they simply going off this workout we're about to show you, Craig? Because you do more videos than anyone else.
Workout form versus race form is totally different. Doesn't matter how quick and how how fast you run your last 800 metres, and she was quite good here, but there's no Bella Montana in this workout. There is no Wainui Creek in this workout. She was okay, but winning and losing this race is manners, and for me, she's not proven 100% that she's got them, Michael.
If the bookies in the north have something wrong with the way they structure their prices, it's overthinking the workouts. Workouts are important for maidens, but once you get past C1, C2, they are far less important than race form. Yeah, she can win. Of course she can win. I'm not saying she can't. But Bella Montana, I agree. If she leads, Bella Montana sits on her back and she'll have a chance to do this. Here she is sitting on the back of Cheesy Fingers. There's Wainui Creek outside them. There's Princess Tiffany, who's not here. So you're getting a very good indication of where Bella Montana lines up against Cheesy Fingers and Wainui Creek. On this run, fellas, I would suggest Wainui Creek was at least as good as the other two, if not better, and should have more Alexandra Park improvement in her. When I saw this market, I thought to myself, by the time we get to this race on Monday, Wainui Creek will be favourite, which takes an awful lot of doing when one's 220 and one's 540. I'm convinced I'm right about that.
It's staggering that she's drawn 9 again, Bella Montana. That's 3 times in a row. She's going to be on the markers again, getting exactly the same run again in many respects, although she did come from further back 2 starts back.
Well, we're hoping that. We're hoping that the one scores up. But even if it scores up on the gate, I'm not convinced it's just a leader off the gate. There's some very quick horses off that front row. Half time's very quick. It's drawn about barrier 3.
Barry Bird to drive.
I think they'll be quite aggressive off the gate. You wouldn't want to be rushing a horse like Chevron Supreme into that first corner. I think if she naturally just gets there under her own steam, they'll look to dominate in front. She's a horse you can't take a hold of because she over races so badly, and I think they'll be as keen as they can to hold up from the inside, but she's certainly no good thing just to lead off the gate.
What do you back? What do you put your money on?
I've made Wainui Creek, I'll be honest, the best of the day.
Right.
Now, $3.40 I believe is about the right price. The $5.20 was Christmas early on. So
Did you enjoy Christmas?
I did, and I think tomorrow, as I said, I'd be surprised if Chevron Supreme starts favourite.
Well, she won't start favourite now. I've gone Wainui Creek on top. Had a good talk to Richard Aubrey, and he said the horse is better. Came north and it was big in condition, and they were really thrilled with the way it handled the track and the trip. He is a lot happier with her. It's a great story. Him and Linda, his wife, train it together, so I would love to see them win. I know that doesn't help you get any money if it doesn't
He's been a
win.
very good horseman for a long time.
And he's never won a race worth more than $40,000. So I hope they win tomorrow. If you are backing it, you've got to cover on Bella Montana. And I think it's just that easy.
So you just back both.
Cheesy Fingers can win too, but
Yep.
I just think that one of those two is probably going to get the right sort of run. But Cheesy Fingers has been a vastly improved horse, and if it gets out to $10, you could even back all 3. I just think that the Chevron Supreme thing, I'm not saying it can't win, was one of the stranger pricings of a horse I've seen at harness racing in a Group 1 race in this country for the last decade.
You've been a big fan of backing 2 horses in a race when they're both at nice prices.
You know why? Because I'm a big fan of money.
Yeah, well, you are.
Because
That's
I
why
tried
you're the
having
brand.
up when I was young, and it
Bella
wasn't much fun.
Montana was $3.60 at the moment, and Wainui Creek's $3.40. You could back them both and still make a profit.
Craig, I backed them the other day at $4.20 and $5.20.
Well, there you go. You make a bigger profit. So
That's
there
the
you go.
idea. They've got to win.
It was
yet.
Christmas for him, it's your birthday for you. Right, short break for us. We've had a look at the features. When we come back, we'll continue our preview and go through the remainder of the card at the park tomorrow. Welcome back into your box seat preview of Trillion Trust Auckland Cup night. Time for us to have a look at the undercard. First race tomorrow, you need to note this down, 3:15 the start time. It's not a race full of depth, but Bounty Lady's been on an Addington campaign over the Cup meeting and did win very nicely last time, Craig.
Well, she came out of some nice races last season. That win last week was penalty free, so she meets a similar field from the similar draw, and I think we'll get the similar result. Just going to get a nice price, $2.90. I don't think that'll hold up. So if you're not backing the favourite, what are you backing? A weigh and ride yourself, not easy to say, but got ability. Zachary Butcher drives. Actually locked wheels at Cambridge on Christmas Eve. Didn't get a lot of luck there, and I thought it needed that run. I can see it benefiting, better right-handed, certainly a chance. And a due flirt, who we'll see very shortly, is not a bad mare when you save her for one run. She did a bit of work off the gate here and run them along a bit in the junior drivers race last start, and she just faded late. But you go back to her prior two starts, Greg, she's run to the line really strongly in very quick sectionals. To the second row is not a bad draw for her. She can over-race a bit, so if she settles, very good place bet at around about $2.80.
Yeah, she's a decent chance to run in the top three, I think. I do like a weigh and ride yourself. Of course, trained by a bloke who knows how to get them ready. And I went back and had a look at the winning performance at the park. Must have been 10 lengths off the leader at about the 300 metre mark. Stormed down the outside. Got a bit to learn. Not the smoothest pacer, but a race that's definitely winnable.
Everything he said before, I agree with.
You don't agree with me?
I have literally nothing to add to what you just said, which I'm not sure if I get
So
paid.
how would you have a bet?
I'm not sure if I
What
get
would you
paid
do
for
in this?
saying that.
What was
because
your bet?
I actually don't have an opinion. What you just said, I was a skinnier version of that. I'll
Lot
go
skinnier.
Bounty Lady.
Yep.
Bounty Lady to win, just
Bang.
100 on the hooter, 290.
I feel like a puppet now. You're just saying stuff and I'm just sitting here.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Me, I'm going each way on a
Away and ride yourself. I actually went 70 win on Bounty Lady at the 290. Run the Quinella with a way and ride yourself, Pro Surfer and a due flirt. $10 Quinella. I think the minimum Quinella you'll get me about $10.
What do you
so
make a Pro Surfer? He's always hurt me.
He has.
Hurt me a
I think
few
I'd say
times.
about him last week, he was sat in the death the whole way. Prior to that, he was in front, and that was his first run for a long time. I can see him benefiting. What I don't like is the draw. So you'd want to be getting a lot better than the 450 you're getting at the moment. But with the right run, he'd be competitive there.
Brecon Farms Young Guns Heat is race number 2. We've got a favourite at $1.22. He drew the outside when winning on debut. He would only improve from that, and therefore, Michael, it's hard to be tipping anything else.
Well, if he led on that occasion, he should lead on this occasion. Here's what he did when he was able to lead last time. Perfect Stride was challenging on the home bend before he rolled into a gallop. But look, he was a class above these. The horses in second, third and fourth, you can make a case might get closer. I'm not sure you can make a case they'll beat him.
I thought maybe Stavros the Terror might get across Jeremy Wells. We don't know what Jeremy Wells will do this week. He got it wrong last time. If he was able to secure a marker peg run, which he might be able to anyway, even if Jeremy Wells holds his spot, that'd be a good spot for him, and he could finish into the top 3 or 4, but yeah, it's very, very difficult to be tipping outside.
Well, it's very hard
of the
to
favourite.
go anything outside what we saw in that last video, because Smooth Deal started from the outside of the front. He actually showed very good gate speed. This week he's drawn barrier 3. He'll lead, and from there, would you take the $1.30? You would. Would you take the $1.22 at the moment? You've got to work around him. For me, probably the only one out of the top 4 in that race that ran to the line in very good sectionals was Sue Tiger. He actually ran to the line as quick as the winner. So he's made up initially 4 lengths inside the last 800 metres, and he's better drawn this week. I thought, hey, he's an outside first 4 chance, so I put him in the trifecta, around about $5 a place.
Okay, so how do you invest your $100?
I went 3 to win, 4, 5, 6 and 8, second and third for the trifecta, spending $100. So that's what, 4 threes are 12 for $100. You get about $8.50 worth of that trifecta. So I think you'd make a profit.
For what it's worth, I spoke to Mark Purdon yesterday. He said, yep, smooth deal, it's all cool. Everything's gone nicely since then. No reason to expect a lesser performance than that one there. I thought a very hard race to make any money out of, to be completely honest. I've gone the Quinella, the 3 and the 4. I think Perfect Stride's a really good horse, but I've only got a very small database to work on, to be completely honest.
Yeah, and he's got a few tricks based on that first up effort. I went with Stavros the Terror. Of course, the Terror to loves. Making a bit of an impression. He's already had 7 or 8 qualifiers.
He has. A couple at Ashburton trialled up very nicely. Good to see Paul Court bring a couple up here. And yeah, This
He's
one's
done
got
that a
nice
few
talk.
times, and his other horse is not the worst either. Mark Da Vinci. Yeah, it's okay. It got a bit of a bump round that bend when Perfect
poor old
Stride.
Perfect Stride gave it a bit of a nudge. Actually jumped something on the track at that stage. So it wasn't its own fault, Perfect Stride. So if you're thinking, listen, it might be a bit of a bad gated horse, actually saw something on the track that was lying there and decided it wanted to be
I did not know that. So you're always learning things, you see. Pasco's The Jeweller's Trot is race number 3. We should just hand this over to the old birthday boy here because Robert Sangster himself's got a runner in here.
Yeah, look, it actually won well last start. But
Kratos we're talking about.
It's good from mobiles.
Where does the name come from?
It's Kratos is god of strength.
Obviously not named after
Actually, I think not named after me, no. Actually, I think my sister-in-law named this one, Barry's wife, Jane. He's a mobile race last time against greatly inferior horses, but look, he trots very squarely. John and Josh Dickey have done a good job with him. Simon Lawson handled him beautifully here. 159 as a 3-year-old. He's probably going to be a Derby horse. He's not going to win a Derby, one would think, or not in this country, but hey, he's a good horse.
He's got a really good economical action, hasn't he?
Well, I love the breed. He's the only horse I've ever purchased myself without getting someone else to check him out. I just liked him, looked at him and thought, okay, I want this horse. And I really like the breed. But he's up against a better 3-year-old tomorrow night. Oscar Bonavina, when he came here fresh up, half hopples on, which don't go on tomorrow night. Mark Purdon said don't need him anymore. Happy as Larry. Here's Oscar, just smashing them now. The filly sitting in the trail here, Sonny's Little Jester, is a good horse and another good 3-year-old. But boys, Oscar jogged this. Mark's exact words were this: he has improved a lot since this run.
Comes strongly after her, 100 to go. Oscar Bonavina's in front. Sonny's Little Jester tries hard, but he finds more. Oscar Bonavina, smart display. First look at the park, and still
all those things being chucked into the melting pot here would suggest that he'll just win again.
I've actually gone different.
Have you?
There you go. Got to add a bit of value to the day somewhere. Can't be tipping $1.20 shots all day.
This will be good.
I really like Forget the Price Tag. I think he's a very, very nice 3-year-old that mentally has taken a long time. He actually trotted 3.29. Any horse that breaks 3.30 as a 3-year-old's got a future. He went 3.29 at the park. Like the way he stepped away last week. 15 metres. I know he's drawn one off the 15-metre mark, but he's very quick away. Wouldn't be surprised if he posied up in front of the favourite here. I've actually gone the Quinella. My suggested bet is 50 a win on the $5 shot Oscar, Forget the Price Tag, and take the Quinella with a favourite because I think it's a bit of cover. If he gets beaten, you'll get your money back and a little bit more. If he happened to win, you'll get a nice price.
I really like the horse, but I thought he was just okay when he won fresh up. And I think he got a virus afterwards. I really do think he's an open class horse. Forget the Price
Well, he's
Tag.
only Yankee Doozy, so he's got a bit of a pedigree.
Bizarrely,
Yes.
I'm not a big person on tipping your own horses. I mean, I don't care who owns them. But Kratos can run a place here at $3 because he's actually longer on the place than Sex on Fire is at the St. Win dividend because there's a good chance he'll gallop. But back there on 15 metres, he seems to be trotting squarely. $3 a place is actually all right value.
That'll do you.
Can I tip a roughie? Something at very good odds?
Yes.
Jason and Megan Teaser's horse, Miss Blissful.
It's going good, isn't it?
Really racing well. In fact, when you've seen that video there, it actually half just stumbled at the 150 metre mark. Probably cost it running third last time. I thought off the front, you only got 4 off the front. One of them's the last start winner out of Maidens. Could posse up in front.
I think it's a 4-win horse.
Yeah,
at least.
and could certainly make your trifecta.
And I just
how
didn't
did you see
know
it?
enough about the form in this race. I just went Oscar just to put a little bit in the bank.
And I think Smooth Deal and Oscar are going to get the roll going if they both win for the multis, and that will see the other one start to shorten. If one of them gets beat, you might be able to get
The
some
bookies might
flexibility.
be hoping or counting on this one because I can't see Smooth Deal getting beaten. Race number 4 is the Crombie Lockwood Pace. Well, this is why we've got the fish in the house because this is a minefield.
It is a minefield because it's quite a quick front row and you're looking at a $5.50 favourite here. So the bookmakers are saying, listen, we don't know. You tell us by backing something to make it into favourite. Well, for me, I like the Stunning Nun, but with a query of the gate barrier 1 because it hasn't shown a lot of gate speed. If it could hold up on its last start run, I think it will be winning here. And $5.80, I'd be quite happy to take the price.
You were flexing your
No, wait, sore knuckles.
fingers then? Oh, sore knuckles. Okay.
Hey, correct. I like one in this race. I think Blazing Rither's a great chance.
Okay.
Really good last time. Good horse. If it was drawn 1, 2 or 3, your dividend would be $3.50. Yeah, I think they'll go hard early, but I don't think many of these are go hard early and stay on the front end type horses. I think the lead might chop and change a little bit. I think this is a pretty decent horse. I think he's a 6 to 7 win horse. What I do with horses now these days is I look at them and think, where's this going to end up and where does it sit in this field? A lot of horses in this field have the ability to win 4 or 5 races, but I just think that he's probably more advanced than some of them. He's one of my better each-way bets of the day, only because you're getting a decent price about a horse who will go forward, and that's going to be the key tomorrow.
Well, I think with a horse like the Stunning Nun, she raced against Bella Montana, a good fillies race, 2 starts ago, boys, and she's a filly that I thought if she happened to be in that 3-year-old fillies race later on, she wouldn't be without a chance of running 4th or 5th. That's the quality of her. The biggest hindrance is the barrier draw, barrier number 1.
You're backing the Stunning Nun then?
Well, I think at $5.80, I mean, on an each-way basis, just that I think if she got
it's
the right
the most
run,
open of the day, isn't
absolutely, but you can make a case for Max Marita, who's racing super. The coordinator, I know you're quite big on, from barrier number 2. Todd Mitchell's team really going well at the moment. He's a trainer to follow. And Trojan Banner, he's been a 3-year-old that's been racing Ultimate Sniper and the best of the 3-year-old company. He drops back into the right race.
And he follows out your horse. I just went each way the coordinator because I thought he might end up in the right spot. He might end up 1-1. He may even get across the one.
It's one of those races you could get completely wrong. It's just a tricky race, but it's nice to have a race with some value because there's not much floating around tomorrow. Although I think there's maybe a couple that are on.
Okay, we're about to take a break and continue our look at the undercard. As we go there, it's been a terrific carnival over on the West Coast. What about the start for Darren Keast? He's trained 7 winners. This is the first of them, Midnight Sue. And who would have thought that he would have continued on the run that he has been able to do the 2 days at Westport and then, of course, finishing it up at Reefton today, but it's been a really good start for him.
I tell you what, he's been very aggressive with his drives down around there. He's not been keen to go forward in his races, as you see lovey-dovey Moment win, of course, 3 of its 3 races, 2 at Westport, 1 at Reefton. So, yeah, I mean, he's been driving tactically well.
And that was Merv Byers getting his win with Monaro Maro, and a very big day there at Westport. A couple of trainers. We're in the home straight here in your box seat special, of course, with Woodlands. Time for us to have a look at race number 5, and this is the Woodlands Stud Yearling Parade, January 22. Well, we'll make some money and you can go along to that and buy us a horse.
Well, I think horses coming out of Group 1 races is always the key when they drop back in grade. American Empress and, of course, Tiger Swift coming out of a hot field behind Dream About Me. American Empress hasn't won for a long time, but she's barrier 1. She does have very good gate speed. Even though she ran down the track in the Queen of Hearts, she actually ran 2:39, not far off them. This is a good run, out wide on the track, making really good ground, and she didn't have a lot of luck here. So I thought, inside draw here, quite happy with the $5.50. Thought it's a race that she can win, but you can make a case for 2 or 3 others. Tiger Swift, the horse that's actually on her back, Zealand Star, will be a nice roughie. What did you make of this race? I thought it was a race that you could find 3 or 4 chances.
Remarkably, she won the equivalent race last year from gate 7
and went berserk.
And went 2:37.
Yeah, went berserk.
Hasn't won one since.
If that version turns up, she'll win. I think she'll lead from the inside and she'll be awfully hard to catch. I'm happy to back her because I don't know where the others are going to end up in comparison with her.
Well, you're happy with the price. I mean, it's backable each way, $5.52.
They're dangling it there, aren't they?
Well, they are, because it's that type of race. There is a chance that there's a couple that look to go forward and pressure, but Salish is a pretty aggressive driver and got the right draw.
The bat up and
yeah, go forward. Why not? 2:37.
Yeah,
Get you home
I don't
here.
think the $5 will be there by race time tomorrow night.
no.
I think it'll be a $4.
Because it's more a case of if you don't back American Empress, what do you back?
Well, what do you back? And you've got to work out how you think the race is going to run. And we always tell you about speed maps. Well, if you think American Empress is your leader, maybe the horse is on its back's a great place bet. So work on the 9 maybe to work around the 1.
So you're playing the Quinella here?
Well, I have. I've taken a few behind. I thought 51 American Empress and then 4, 7, 9, 11 and 12. Those are all horses I believe will be on the speed. A Aha Reaction might be one that will look to go forward off the gate. Then you're looking at Tiger Swift because it's coming out of Group 1 and 9, 11, 12. The bottom 2, of course, you go back to a better act, was good enough to beat Jesse Duke 2 starts ago. Maybe the forgotten horse in the race.
And was second favourite in the stakes final, which is just bizarre.
Yep, it was. That was just a truly bizarre race at Addington that night. For what it's worth, I've gone for American Empress just each way. I think it's just a good chance of just jumping to the lead and
I've come up with a theory.
Even if it gets run down.
I've got a loveth man with
You
a
got a
theory.
theory? You
I've got a theory they'll go
theory.
hard
theory?
early like a wildfire, dropping on the markers, can run in the money.
Well, there you go.
Well, I had to carry you last time because you tipped it and that was just
Yeah, that
Skoputski.
wasn't. I was
That
trying
was
to catch
just
you in that stupid
Kaputzi.
competition, but anyway.
It wasn't a stupid competition.
Well, it's a great competition.
Great competition.
I bet it is.
great
Right. Moving right along, we go to a pretty smart mare taking on a real up-and-comer here, Michael.
This is interesting because Ali Mack is the best horse in the race. We know that. She's been racing against Dream About Me and she would have been a Group 1 winner if it wasn't for Dream About Me. But it's a long way from out there to winning. She might need to sit parked. I think On the Cards will press forward and probably get the lead. And I think he's a pretty good horse. He was luckless in the Auckland Cup. He missed away at the start, ended up last of the bunch, looped him. She's probably just better than him, but I'm not going to be tipping $20, $30, $40, $55 chances all
Over
day.
1,700 at the park.
I'm just not going to be tipping them all day from the All-Stars because you'll get sick of hearing it and one of them's going to get beat. It might be this one. It might be not.
What about for you, Craig?
Well, I went on the cards as well, just on the basis that it's a little bit more value. I mean, Ali Mack won this day last year. She's in great form. You take the Queen of Hearts form going into this race, it's great. But I agree with Michael, when you're drawn barrier 8 and you're taking that short price, everything needs to go your way. So I thought of On the Cards posied up in front of her. I give him as equally as good chance. You go back to the run 2 starts ago. This is when it runs third behind Ashley Lopez. It's bloody good form for a race like this.
Very good form, yeah. And I'm with you, Michael. If he does get to the marker pegs, he finished 4th in the Derby last year behind Sheriff and company, Pat's Delight. So that just shows you the sort of quality he is.
I think there's a way you can play this as he gets bombed here late by All You Need Is Faith and Ashley Lopez. You can take your multi with the All-Stars horses and you take that and you put Ali Mack in that. And then if you're rolling and it starts to build momentum, you've got 5 of them going, you're sweet. Then you can cover On the Cards. That's what I would do. But if I'm just having one straight bet tomorrow for $100, I'm probably backing On the Cards each way because if it leads, look, a win each way. It just depends what's paying for a place. If it's paying $4 and $1.60, you're going to get half your money back.
Yep.
And I can't see it running outside the top 3 unless someone parks it out.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone that as well. I've gone 50 a win on the cards, and actually gone 50 each way. Yeah, so an each way base as well. I was going to take the Quinella on Mac, but no, we'll go each way on the second favourite.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you do?
What did you do?
I think I just took the shorts again.
Take the shorts, 100 to win El Mac.
Yeah. Again, because
So now after the race, you'll be like, I tipped the winner and you didn't.
you know it will
That'll be
because you
brutal.
do that to me all the time. Need help in the last though, Craig.
I've got one here. I've got one here. Yep.
Both of you have.
Help is here.
Yeah,
Help.
and I can see which one it is.
Yeah, I've backed it already, Majestic Ali. Look, I don't think it's a natural 2-7 horse, but it has been trotting really squarely. Excellent last time out, Craig. 780 into 480. I'm not saying she's just going to turn up and win, but I thought she's looked at her peak the last couple of runs.
Yeah, she has, and what she is now doing is coming back off level marks with the horse that beat her last start, Mr. Good and Evil. The longer trip suits her, 2,700 metres, 780. That was very good. 480 is about right. I think she'll be going very close in the last. And Michelle Wallace and Bernie Haggett got a big strong hand in the last. So Petite Lady's been very good. I think this is a big step up in grade for her tonight, although she's racing well. I'm surprised it was as short as she was. $4 was pretty short.
Here's Majestic Ali getting to the outside here, so it's actually 5th of that bunch. Now, Petite Lady's had a better run. When they hit the line here, ignore the winner, that's Miss Sandai. She's in the open class race. Majestic Ali's gone as good as the second horse, if not better.
Yes.
And it's almost finished in front of it. And yes, Petite Lady's doing a great job for James, but I do just think this is a race where Majestic Ali gets its chance. 780 was a lot cooler than 480, but she's one of my few each way chances of the day where you can actually get some each way odds.
Yeah, I think we've all gone the same here. So
Yeah,
there you go.
There you go. $5 if it pays. That's nice money.
Yeah, that's probably the end of its chances.
By the way, I did speak to Michelle Wallace and had a word to her about her 4 in that race, and she said, look, not a great deal between them. Galleon's Victory does like the 2-7. So she wasn't sort of saying Majestic Ali was going to win, but she did say she's trotting as good as she can trot.
Best bet of the day. Where do you go? Oh, there's the Woodlands runners, by the way. Mosdale Art at Winton. That's meeting running alongside Alexandra Park, Our Petite Lady and Ultimate Sniper in the sales final.
I don't want to tip you an All-Stars horse paying $1.20 as my best of the day because you don't want to hear that. So take your multi early, get that out of the way. If they all win, you're smart. Go On the Cards. On the Cards will be my best of the day. Majestic Ali, it's sort of semi-value. It might pay $5, but That's my go.
The fish.
I don't want to tip you the shorties.
Well, I didn't want to tip you the shorties either. I think there's 3 there at $1.30, so we don't want to be tipping them. I really like Wainui Creek. I think even at the 350, 360 it is at the moment, I think it may have to sit park for the last 800 metres. I reckon it'll improve with last week's run, so quite happy to take that price. Value, I was Majestic Ali as well. I thought it was a little bit of overs. Those overs are gone at the moment. But even at the 480, it's one you want to run through your multis, through those short ones, like if you want to go Ultimate Sniper and Smooth Deal onto Majestic Ali, that works out about a $10 for $1. So for 100, nice collect.
Nice work there. I reckon Turn It Up's the bet of the day. I know he's taking on a class mare, but he's a very special horse, this. And I spoke to Natalie about him today, and she said, I reckon he could run a furlong in better than 12 seconds. So if he's on the back of her...
Did she say furlong?
Furlong was...
How old is she?
It's racing speak, 200 metres, whatever you want to look at it.
Okay.
She reckoned it could do that. Either way, I'm thinking in front or in the trail, too fast for her. And like a wildfire to continue my Todd Mitchell-a-thon that would...
He's actually
appear to be.
driving well, Todd. He's driving well at the
We
moment.
drove 3 at Cambridge the other night. Well, he wouldn't have done that in a
Since
long
it was your
time.
birthday today, what actually did you get for your birthday?
Actually, I had a good birthday, but I'll be honest, having a win in my colours was the first time. Because the Kratos, the trotter's supposed to race in those colours too, but we got the colours and we gave them to Josh, but
And
Josh...
they're made for a jockey.
Well, they're made for a jockey, so Josh, and then we didn't get them. So long story short, it's like a horse's name or a boat's name, you can't change it. So once it's racing in the Dickey colours, it's got to stay in the Dickey colours. But having a win with the Gallopo and the colours for the first time was a big deal. So yeah.
Oh.
Congratulations to you.
And also got to see you boys too, which was
On your
great.
birthday. Yeah.
Great. What a bonus.
Wonderful. All right, we will have a wrap-up of Treat and Trust Auckland Cup Day in the normal time for the box seat, which is Wednesday, 8:30. So look forward to wrapping it all up then. On behalf of Michael Guerin, Craig Thompson, hope you've enjoyed the preview of Auckland Cup 2018. We'll see you tomorrow.